All right, and in our Spotlight segment this morning, we are spotlighting, it might be gender-based violence, it might be homicide, but we're spotlighting a missing person. Because in Trinidad and Tobago, the women, we are not feeling safe, and we keep looking at what we can do to fix the situation. But more than what we can do, where are these people? And this morning, we're going to be bringing you the story of Shanice Cooper. And here to speak with me this morning is her aunt, Pauline Cooper. Good morning to you, Pauline.
Good morning.
How are you doing, my dear?
Good, and you?
I am very tired. all of us are. Nobody can lie this morning. We beat because we were here late last night, you know, so you know how the job is. People don't understand. TV is plenty work, you know. Yes. Right, so...
You have to be in it to know that.
I know, but it really is. But you know what? We knew we had to come out. If there was any morning we had to come out, it was this morning, because we have the situation where women keep going missing in Trinidad and Tobago, and your niece is one such person. So take us back to 2019, August, when Shanice disappeared.
I remember that day like very vividly. It was Wednesday, the 28th of August, 2019. And I received the call on the 29th of August, Thursday morning around 4 a.m. And it was my niece, another niece, Lachelle Cooper, and she said to me, I just called to say Shanice is missing. So I was like, missing? What do you mean, you know? I was between sleep and wake, so I was naturally confused. That was my very first reaction was confusion, and not taking it very serious. So I said okay, and I hung up, and then
you hung up on her?
No, the conversation was ended, and but as I said, within our family, we live so peacefully that hearing somebody missing, someone from our family missing, it was not something I expected at all. So in my mind, this is not true. So we hung up, and immediately after, I called back. I said, when you said she's missing, what do you mean? And then she said that she left for work and she never made it to work, and calls her phone went unanswered, and that's the story, you know. So we gathered, as family, we gathered together on the morning of the 29th, all aunts, grandmother, uncles. We gathered, because Shanice is an only child, so we gathered at my niece's house and decided what is our next move. We kept calling the phone all day, no answer. And later the evening, on the 30th, is when someone answered the phone and said that they found the phone somewhere in Woodbrook on the side of the road. And the police was notified, and they went and retrieved the phone.
And was the police able to get anything from the phone to suggest what would have happened to Shanice the last time she may have answered the phone, or the last time it was active?
If that is so, we aren't informed about that. The only thing I remembered, because our family came together and we started searching for our niece. Our mother searching for her daughter, and searching for the niece, friends searching. We got it together. We began searching, and it took like months later, when I went to visit the CID department in Belmont. I mentioned to the officer that the areas that were searched, and he said, that is not the area we think she was in, you know. So during that conversation, there was the indication that they knew where her phone, where her the towers had picked up her phone and that kind of stuff, what area she was in, and that's all we got from that.
So what has the police's involvement been like in Shanice's disappearance? I know you all made a report once she didn't come home because, as you said, it was out of character for her.
Yes.
And we're not talking about a child. We're talking about a 31-year-old adult when she went missing.
Yes.
I think by then we could well establish the kind of personality that she is, you know, how she would conduct herself.
Definitely.
You know, so what was the response of the police like?
Her mother, on the very day that she went missing, her mother knew immediately after calling her baby daddy, and an aunt who was expected to pick her up and take her to the embassy to collect her visa, because she got her visa and had to collect it on that very day. So after she made that call, and the aunt said, other aunt said that she did not get in contact with her because her phone keep ring, that never rang. It keep going into voicemail. So after making those 2 calls, her mother knew immediately that something was not right. So she called the police. She also went, along with another sister of hers, went to the station in Belmont. And as per usual, they were informed that they have to wait for the 24 hours wait. But she keep insisting that I know something is wrong with my daughter. And there was, you know, this deeper concern because she was 7 months pregnant. So her mom was concerned about her welfare and that of the baby. So she keep imploring with them to, you know, do something, because it is not like my child to just go and, you know, turn her phone off and refuse to answer calls, so not indicate where she is. That is not in her character to do that. Nevertheless, they didn't, at that point in time, they did nothing.
Did they do anything after the 24 hours had expired?
What I know for a fact is that it took them 7 days before they came to the home and asked for her toothbrush and any clothing item that they could use in the investigation.
So there wasn't, so for 7 days, the family didn't hear from the police service at all?
They keep going, but the reaction, to get a reaction, it took 7 days. That I know for sure. It took 7 days for them to reach at her home and ask for those items.
And they didn't question family members during those 7 days?
No, it was at that point they would have questioned the neighbor who said that he heard Shanice on her phone that morning saying to someone that she would meet them at the gas station, right? So they would have questioned him about that conversation, but before that, nothing that we know of. Nothing that we know of.
And
we searched for like about 2 weeks with no assistance from the TTPS, absolutely none.
And do you believe it would have made a difference if they had acted immediately upon...
Absolutely, absolutely. And more so, you know, given the very recent incident that took place with Ms. Barrett. I believe that a father has gotten closure only because they acted promptly. You know, so I believe that if this same type of urgency was lended to our family, we would have not been here 1 year and 7 months later with no answers.
You have any paper towel here, please? When you see, you know, just how the population reacted to Andrea Barrett. You know, what do you think as the aunt of Shanice Cooper when you realize that you didn't get that equal treatment from the police and maybe even from the population? Because I can tell you that before you came, there are people who would, I say, you know, sometimes people may ask me, you know, who is coming on the program? Who is going to be? And I'll say, okay, I'm going to speak to Shanice Cooper's aunt. And some people didn't know Shanice's story. Some people didn't know that there was a 31-year-old woman from Belmont named Shanice Cooper who went missing in August 2019. And when you tell me of the reaction from the police, you know, I am sure that the commissioner is going to have some explanation for why this happened or that we don't know the entire story, but it makes me feel angry. It makes me feel angry because I'm asking myself, 7 days, no interviewing of the family members, no coming to the house to find out what's going on, no asking any of you anything, the neighbors, family, friends of Shanice, what happened. So do you believe they assumed that she had gone off on her own?
But I guess that is the natural reaction, the very first reaction people of Trinidad and Tobago displays. You know, because I remembered when her picture was posted, her story was posted by Missing Persons of Trinidad and Tobago. I was heartbroken to see the type of comments that were made under her story. Shanice is 31 years of age. She had a splendid relationship with her mom. She had absolutely no reason to run away. Yet there were people accusing her of running away with a man. They were saying there was this particular person that even today, if her story is reposted, that person will keep repeating that she's by her real child father. I mean, those accusations are false to begin with and erroneous and heartbreaking for a family who know for a fact that something is definitely wrong with Shani. Something is definitely, something sadistic has happened, something. Yeah. And
that's what the family believes.
That is what the public believes about that. She's 7 months pregnant. She was in the height of her pregnancy. She was excited. It was her New Year's resolution. Right? She and her mother was in the midst of planning the baby shower. She had already started shopping for the baby. They already choose a color. You know, even as I look today, this is so indicative of Shani, the color of this studio. Because her favorite color was teal and silver. I see so much of Shani as I sit here today. You know, there's, you know, this feeling that Shani is everywhere, you know. Her spirit is everywhere.
How is mom holding up?
That is a story all by itself. And I wish people would find out about her story.
Yeah.
Because I have never seen somebody so broken. Prior to August the 28th, I have been hearing, reading, seeing stories that are similar in nature to Shanice's story. And it would have provoked some sympathy to families, but a day or two would pass and you tend to forget because it's not directly related to you. So you thought they couldn't relate to their suffering. It was impossible to do so until Shanice went missing. I saw a woman that went from living a normal life. Yes, she would have had health issues, but nothing in comparison to what she's going through right now. I see a woman who, from the second day of her missing, she could not even hold a plate in her hands. She could not hold a cup.
A traumatized mom.
She was so traumatized. You know, yesterday I slept over at her house last night. And yesterday I look at her. I'm walking behind her.
Take your time. Take your time. It's all right.
And she has to climb 60 treaders up to get to her house. And every step took so much determination. Because
we're going to take a break. We have to take that break. We will be back with Pauline. Do stay with us. We're just trying to compose ourselves here.
Make them out only when time to feed, had the time to breathe. Just look for them to hope again.
All right, welcome back to the No Morning Show here on TTT. We are featuring a missing person, Shanice Cooper, who went missing August 2019, 7 months pregnant, 31 years old, and her family is just in shambles. They said 7 days it took for the police officers to even ask a question, to even come and check out the home. And they're wondering why they didn't get the treatment when they saw what happened with Andrea Barth, what happened with Ashanti Riley, because they believed if the police had acted quickly enough, maybe they would have had a different outcome. Welcome back to the program, Pauline.
Yes, thank you.
So, you know, we're talking about Annette and just how Annette is a broken woman at this point, you know, the family just not having that closure, not knowing what happened to Shanice. And even to this day, still don't know what happened to Shanice. So a year, 7 months later, has the police kept in contact with the family?
Well, it's easier to say that we have kept in contact. You know, we, Annette and myself, and even my eldest sister, Hazel, we have always kept in contact with the police. I have with Annette, together with Annette, we have gone to homicide department, a couple of visits there. I have gone to Belmont a couple of times, and once to the homicide department. And the last night while speaking with her, she told me that last week she received a call from officers of the homicide department, informing her that there's a change in location, and also reassuring her that the case is not closed and they are reopening the investigation, going over things step by step. So I'm grateful for that, to hear that, you know, but I would like to see, you know, the evidence that it is happening. You know, I don't.
Why do you think the police service, I'm asking this again, why do you think they responded differently to what we saw in an Andrea Barrett or even an Ashanti Riley? Why do you think the response is different?
I cannot say for sure, but I would like to think that because of where probably Andrea worked, a place of work, and very early in the investigation, they probably had a very clear idea who took her and that she was in immediate danger. I do not think that that was evident.
It wasn't established with Shanice?
No, from very early. I do not think that. But I also think that if they had acted promptly,
might have gotten a lead.
They would. Not might, but they would have gotten a lead.
What does the family believe happened to Shanice? There must be some thought process about, you know, what happened to your niece, to Annette's daughter.
I must be very clear about what my beliefs are and to make it very clear that that is not, I do not know that to be a fact.
Yeah.
But I believe that her baby daddy and her may have had some type of misunderstanding, because it was very clear that he was not he was not in agreement with the pregnancy. So, you know, I think that he could sort of answer some of the questions, but I cannot say that is a fact. That is just probably what I believe.
Yeah.
Because apart from that, she really do not have any enemies that I know of or any other family member know of. You understand? So I can only say what I believe, but again, I wanted to be very clear that I do not know that to be a fact.
Right. Was he questioned at all?
Yes, he was.
And what did the police find or say coming out of that?
During the interrogation, it is alleged that he self-harmed. Again, I can only say what I heard. And he was admitted to Sentence Mental Institution. And after approximately a 2-week stay, he was brought back into for interrogation, and after that he was released. After that, nothing else.
Any kind of communication between your family and him since?
Well, very early when she went missing, there was a bit of communication, but then after his the police arrested him or held him for questioning, that changed. He stopped answering any calls, and absolutely no one seems to know where he is.
And no one knows where Shanice is?
No.
And outside of the phone being found in Woodbrook, were there any other evidence retrieved to signal what happened to her?
Not that I know of. I have been posting Shanice's story religiously for the past year and 7 months. Even when I think sometimes it doesn't make any sense, I would still post it with the hope that somebody would feel, you know, some type of, or generate some type of concern within the wider community, and that somebody who knows something, because I cannot believe that a place as small as Trinidad and Tobago, that somebody took a young woman, a young pregnant woman, and absolutely no one else knows anything. So I believe that there is somebody out there holding onto a secret. And my reason for continuously sharing her story is just to see if I could make that person speak out or go to the police and say what they know. But so far, no one, absolutely no one, not even an inbox message to indicate any knowledge of Shanice's whereabouts or what transpired that day, if she's alive, if she's dead, nobody.
And yet there are so many missing persons in Trinidad and Tobago.
Trinidad and Tobago.
Never thought your niece would have been one of them.
Never, ever. Because in my mind, prior to this incident, I would have thought that you have to live a particular type of life, you know, or your family has to be involved in some type of illicit type of behavior or activity,
for you,
for you to go missing like that, to just disappear off the face of the earth. You know, but I couldn't even imagine that somebody, a law-abiding citizen that is no threat to anyone, could just go missing. I mean, that's my confusion, and I think that is Anna's confusion as well. You know, her daughter lived an exemplary life. At 31 years, she was doing well. You know, she was gainfully employed. They both bought a home together, and they were planning to move when the baby was born. They were doing well. They had, you know, and she had no enemies, so she wasn't involved in any drugs and nothing like that. So what is the reason for her just disappearing?
Do you believe Shanice is still alive?
I will tell you what I I would like to believe that, but I do not believe it. But there's no evidence to say that she left the country. There's nothing. I believe that all hospitals, at this point, all hospitals were searched. She's not warded anywhere. Where she could be.
Pauline, unfortunately, we are out of time. But, you know, I hope you sharing the story of Shanice here will get you something, give the police something, so that we can find out going forward what happened to Shanice Cooper.
Yes.
This has been Spotlight this Wednesday morning. Thank you all so much. Pauline Cooper talking to us about her niece, Shanice Cooper, who went missing in 2019 August without a trace. We continue to put the spotlight on these issues here on the Now Morning Show. Thank you for joining us. We take that break.